I love Code Vein, and it is finally time for a full new game build guide where I walk you through every addition I make to the build, how I handle every boss, and some general world traversal tips. We're going to create a simple build for one-handed swords that will be done solo, save for 3 instances throughout the playthrough. If you're in want of a build that is not too complicated, but still takes advantage of the unique build crafting this game has to offer, this will be the perfect video for you. At the start of the game, there are 2 of the 3 occasions where we have a follower. Oliver starts out as our follower in the first area, where we can find the heavy axe in a chest. It isn't in the weapon class we will be using, but it is better than the starting gear, and will suffice for now with our blood code. In these clips, you will see me performing a lot of backstabs, which I have always done in this game, and plenty of parries, which I haven't always done in this game. I am fresh off my first playthrough of Sekiro, so using means outside of dodging to avoid damage is very much ingrained in me at the moment. Around this time, you should master your gifts in the fighter class, and find the Blue Hound's Blood Veil. It has better dex scaling and slightly lower weight, so I switched to it. Changing your armor can change your parry timing, so test out new types of blood veils on easy enemies before fighting tougher opponents. While exploring, keep Adrenaline active for an attack power boost, and use Triple Annihilator whenever you have the spare eye core. Behind an elite enemy is the Queenslayer Thorn, another blood veil, this one scaling with strength, making it the best option so far. Finally, towards the end of the starter area, we have the Queenslayer Blade, the first one-handed sword of the run. Then there's the first boss fight, Oliver Collins. This is the second time we have a partner in the run, so his aggro will be split. Even if you fail a couple parries like I did, this fight is more or less Asylum Demon and should not take you very long. With the intro out of the way, we can finally start with build crafting. Start with a Berserker blood code to master Blow of Madness and Precision. You should master them fast before you even get to the parking garage in the middle of the next area. Blow of Madness will boost attack power for 1 attack, and Precision will increase our stagger damage. With both mastered, switch to Prometheus blood code from Louis for Phantom Assault, an offensive move, and focused stamina usage, a passive buff we will use for the rest of the game to reduce stamina consumption from all sources while focused. We have 2 paths we can take from the city center, and we'll be heading down into this massive hole into the Howling Pit first, but we're just visiting. Activate the first missile, and then teleport back to home base to talk to Yakumo, where he will give you his Atlas blood code. Switch to it so we gain access to Foul Blood Barrier, a gift that reduces damage taken from a single hit, and strength and vitality up, a passive boost to health, and our main damage stat. By the shortcut to the parking garage, there's a chest hidden on the stairs containing the GXH Assault Blood Veil. This is the armor we will use for the rest of the run. It has a B strength scaling and is IV type. The parry timing is a bit slow, but the drain attack shoots the veil into the ground and can hit any enemy we direct it to that is within a certain range of us. This comes in handy exploring every area, and you will see me use it a lot. Butterfly of Delirium is boss number 2, and has many attacks that deal poison. If you get some buildup, it may be wise to stand back for a bit, so you don't have to burn through a heal or 2. Prioritize spending Eye-Core on Foul Blood Barrier for defense, then Adrenaline for the damage boost. When you get a stun in, use Phantom Assault to do damage without having to expend stamina. Our build is not yet fully realized, so no matter your build right now, these early fights will feel more or less the same. Take the elevator behind the arena to reach the dried up trenches. This is the first area in the game that heavily incorporates vertical traversal into the level design, and there will be much more of it in the future. Through a path you can drop down on, you'll find an enemy guarding a chest with a broadsword in it. This weapon is slower than the Queenslayer blade, but hits harder per attack. Throughout the area, you'll see a couple new enemy types. The one you should watch out for in particular is the Lost wearing the orange, wielding a shotgun. These guys can fire twice in quick succession and destroy your health bar if you take a direct hit. Either take them out at range, or maneuver behind them for a quick kill. We have a weird boss for the area in the Insatiable Despot. He wields 2 daggers in phase 1 and an axe in phase 2. For the first phase, he has a couple moves which are easy to predict that you can dodge roll through and build up that focus bar, so standing right in front of him is not a terrible play. In phase 2, he gets a fast double swipe with the weapon. This move hit me far too often and nearly killed me right before I finished the fight. To play it safe, you can unlock the camera and attack from behind, where he cannot hurt you unless he drops back or clips you with an AoE. With the Despot down, it's time to head back to Howling Pit, where we can teleport in since the first missile is already unlocked. This is a swamp area, mandatory in every game in the genre. There are a plethora of hidden enemies and slow-moving terrain, but the water luckily won't build up poison. How you advance through the area is by killing elite enemies that are camped out next to or holding keys. The toughest of these loves to charge at you. Unfortunately for him, there's a cliff not far off from where he spawns in. You can figure out the rest. Near the end of the level, you'll find the Hanimukuro. You can switch to this if you want to use a dex-based build, but I'll be sticking to the broadsword, since there is a similar but even better weapon we can trade for in the next area. There is a fork in the road by the boss arena. The boss will be to the left, and there is a missile to the right, so you don't have to do a ridiculous run back. A Queen Steel is sitting right before the boss, and if you have a second one, this is where you can upgrade your weapon to +4. If not, there will be tons of steel to gather in the next area. Our build before the boss fight is using the Atlas Blood Code with Adrenaline, Blow of Madness, Precision, Phantom Assault, Flashing Fang from Atlas, Foul Blood Barrier, Strength and Vitality Up, Health Boost, Resilient Focus, and Focus Stamina Usage, with a +3 GXH Assault Blood Veil. I laugh every time I see the Invading Executioner, because she is literally a pole dancer. The funny part is, she is my favorite early game fight as well. In the first phase, she has a couple of quick moves, in that stomp and slamming down the butt of the weapon. Her sickle swings are slower, so I would back up the first couple of times you see them, so you can learn the timing without getting hit. When you see the transition to phase 2, back up, because there's a move that shoots out projectiles that inflict slow, causing you to fat roll when affected. In a fast-paced fight like this, that often means a restart if you can't cure it. There's an added kick to the weapon slam you can roll through, but the deadliest attack would have to be the slide. This comes at you fast and deals tons of damage. If the slide doesn't get you, the second one still can. To play it safe, roll through the slide. If you have the timing down, roll with the slide instead, and you'll end up right next to her as the move finishes, giving you a nice damage window. Get comfortable punishing the slide, and you'll master this fight. Now I have done about a dozen playthroughs of this game, so I skip many of the cutscenes, but I will have to comment on the fact that there are 8 cutscenes that play after this fight. If I watched every cutscene and went through every vestige I unlocked, my playtime for the playthrough would be roughly doubled. This game is story heavy. Before we enter the next area, trade with Louis to build up your affinity. Some gifts he will appreciate more than others, so hitting 50 affinity is easier than it may seem. If you want more gifts, head to the Outer Crossroads Missile to trade old world materials for a few more. I was able to get to 45 affinity, and you should be somewhere close. We'll get up to 50 soon. Travel to the City Park Missile when you're done, and interact with the Angel statue. We now arrive at the best area of the game, Cathedral of the Sacred Blood. I will maintain my opinion of this area being the best. The homogeneous appearance forces you to pay attention to your surroundings, so you can advance through the area and not get hopelessly lost. There was a post I saw years ago that I will never find again that compared this place to the Great Filter. This is a theory, in short, stating that there is some overwhelming obstacle for intelligent life to form and become an advanced multistellar species, thus explaining why there is no intelligent life in the observable universe outside of Earth. The Cathedral of Sacred Blood is the Great Filter of Code Vein, explaining why there are many less players than expected that reach endgame. This is the longest area the game has to offer, and is filled with elite enemies at every turn. If you don't learn from your mistakes and keep pushing through, you will not make it, you will not see the stars, and you will be filtered. A few general tips for the area. If there is a railing out, there could be a lower platform to drop down onto. The night enemies have a move where they teleport to you before attacking. It's tricky at first to avoid, but once you get the parry timing down, it's a free hit. Make sure you save all the Queen Steel you find around here, as there will be enough gifts and old world materials to get Louis' affinity to 50 and trade for his weapon, Enduring Crimson. It is the one-handed sword we will be using for the rest of the run, having B scaling in strength and dex. Its attacks are faster than the broadsword, and has a crazy triple swipe for the uncharged heavy. At this time, I also mastered Flashing Fang and Strength and Vitality up, so we can equip both of these on the Prometheus Blood Code that now has enough strength to use Foul Blood Barrier. I also had enough haze to unlock Strength and Dexterity up and one-handed sword mastery. With a new weapon and a new look, the Argent Wolf Berserker is next. This boss has a very limited move pool, consisting of mostly slow mace attacks. He can be backstabbed, so staying behind him is great. However, those mace swings will reach all the way around him, and you'll still need to dodge. This boss has the worst run back in the game, so take your time with it, play it safe, and you won't have to endure it too much. I luckily got this fight on the first try, but trust me, in the past, I have dealt with it plenty. We are not yet done with the cathedral, but there is an optional area we can head to for a little reprieve. The player memories have some great weapons, but what we are after is perhaps the best blood code in the game. Vertical drops are harder to spot around here since there is no railing, but I'm sure you will appreciate the change in visuals. Also, going in and out of here may reassign your equipment, so check up on that before you start a fight. After killing a few elites and securing a key from one of them, I stood above the boss arena with the Prometheus blood code, a +5 GXH assault, and a +6 enduring crimson, and my passive gifts rearranged to use one-handed sword mastery, strength and dex up, strength and vitality up, and focus stamina usage. The Queen's Knight is another favorite fight of mine. The simple premise of a big guy with a sword works well in Code Vein as it does in many Souls-likes. There are a few tricks to the fight. First, if you see him raise the shield up, do not attack from the front, as you will be parried. There is a spinning attack that still hits me from time to time, because the proper dodge is later than it appears. Finally, there's an attack where he jumps in the air and teleports around. Dodge left as he reappears, and strafe when he creates the plus-shaped attack at the end of the combo. Great fight overall, and none too difficult. Defeat the knight, and it'll reward you with the Queenslayer blood code, another component of the build we will be using to the end game. Now that we're back in your favorite area, we can slap on Circulating Pulse as a new offensive gift. The final stretch of the cathedral requires 2 keys to advance through. One is on top of a tower guarded by 2 knights, and the other is by the ladder at the start of the area. If you've made it this far, you can finish the cathedral. Find those keys, reach the final missile, and prepare for the first successor fight. Outside the boss arena, you'll see an attendant where you can repair the vestiges for each successor fight. To get the good ending, you'll need to repair every vestige for every successor. If you're missing one, check your map for areas you've yet to cover, and it'll likely be hiding there. For the build now, I am of course using the Queenslayer blood code, Circulating Pulse, and Blood Barrier, which I equipped a while ago, and will use now for some extra defense. This boss deals damage in every element, blood included. My GXH is now +6, but all else remains the same. Successor of the Ribcage is a caster, and has deadly ranged attacks. So we will stand right in front of her, and bait out this electric double swipe attack that is easy to dodge through. Avoid a couple of these, and your focus gauge will be filled. When she casts a fire incantation next to you, back away. This move creates a big explosion and teleports her to the other side of the arena. There's a blood move and a different electric move that you'll have to dodge through or run away from. If you're in front of her, she will prefer that double swipe though. Keep attacking, and that reduced stamina consumption will help you beat your first successor boss. Also, pro tip, if you're skipping the cutscenes, it will place you right in front of the character to restore the memory, so you don't need to worry about missing the good endings. Back at home base, Io will give you her blood code, which will come in use later, and will have enough material to instantly master Overdrive from the Assassin Vestige. This will boost our damage for as long as we don't get hit. Teleport to the Inner Tower Missile at the Cathedral and stroll into the Ridge of Frozen Souls. This area is much shorter and easier than the Cathedral, and surrounded by sheer drops. Just like in the Howling Pit, charging elite enemies can be sent down to their dooms off the edge. Prometheus has Flame Weapon, so if we master it, we can have an effective weapon buff for the area and or the boss. This terrain is open, unlike the tight corridors of the Cathedral, making it much better suited for the Ivy Blood Veil Drain attack. Before the boss, I swapped out Blow of Madness and Flashing Fang for Flame Weapon and Overdrive. Successor of the Breath might be my favorite fight in the game. He starts off phase 1 with a few punch attacks and a shield bash, followed up by a spin. In phase 2, he throws away the shield for a much more aggressive approach. His dash attack is quick and still hits me from time to time. The Icicle Swipe is his favorite at medium range. If you stick close to him and strafe his punches for long enough, he'll use the jetpack for an AoE to jump in the air and come crashing back down. Now that we have 3 weapon buffs and a defensive gift, we will constantly be in a battle not with just the boss, but with our own I-Core usage in effort to keep as many effects active as possible. I feel like this is finally the fight where the general feel of the build shines through. Casting spell after spell while stealing Ichor before their duration runs out is what Code Vein is all about. I find the story for this fight to be very cute, so I often still watch these cutscenes after the fight. Which leads me to my question this week. What is your favorite boss fight in Code Vein? After the fight, master the Frost Weapon Gift. The next bosses are weak to it, or have low resistance against it. Also, pick up the vestige laying outside where the attendant once was. Travel back to home base, then to the gated room in the cathedral to take the elevator down into the cavern. There are many more bayonet using Lost around here on elevated terrain. Our weapon and Blood Veil Drain attack cannot reach them up there, so I rushed in for melee and backstab attacks. If you do see an enemy on your level, the Drain attack will reach them outside of aggro range. The boss in the Accumulator Ruins right after the cavern is one of the hardest in the game. Keep Bloodguard on, and have Frozen Weapon in place of Flame Weapon. The Gilded Hunter is a halberd-wielding knight with a single AoE in Phase 1. Around half health, he activates a buff that speeds up his attacks and lessens the time in between his attack combos. When in this state, do not get greedy, he will kill you. If you're playing with an active partner, the AI will have no clue how to deal with this pace and expire in short order. So we will all be facing this man solo at one point. Once you survive for a bit, the buff ends and the hunter has to lay down for a bit to recharge. This is your chance. Lay down the DPS here and you will win. The third successor is in the City of Fallen Flame. If you have any fire resist items, this is the time to use them, as stepping on the ground here will damage you. To get through this level, focus on knocking down the ladders to open up the shortcuts. Once you make it there, you can teleport back or walk to the missile with these ladders. Because the ground is doing damage to us, we'll be using these shortcuts back more often than usual. There will be 2 Queen Titanium in the area, enough to upgrade our blade to +7. The successor of the Claw is a dexterous and fire damage dealing cat. Fireproof tonics are great here, like in the level. I would not stick to her left side. I found her claw attack more difficult to dodge than the sword swipe. She can swing the sword once or twice before sheathing it, and she is so tall that the second swipe will miss you if you walk clockwise around her. For the special move, when she disappears in a pillar of fire, dodge half a second after, and her swing will miss. She is easier than the Gilded Hunter. If you beat him solo, I don't see this fight being too much of an issue. Grab the vestige outside the arena after the fight to unlock Elemental Wall, a general defense barrier for many damage types. Return to the Ridge of Frozen Souls again, to the Iceless Falls missile, and head down the path off to the right. Down a set of ladders, you'll find the Crown of Sand, the area with the final successor boss. The hazard here is sand. Not only will it slow you down like the water in Howling Pit, but it drains your Ichor slowly. Cast all of your spells before you walk in. Besides that, there's a Lost casting a ball of sand down a path in the middle of the level. Take him out as fast as you can to make exploring that corner easier. Activate the elevator shortcut in the middle when you reach it, for there is a long run back to this boss. Successor of the Throat has the most beautiful boss run back in the game. She is another enemy weak to ice, and we will not be changing our build at all. Get all those gifts up and running, and stick to the boss's right side once more. There's a double swipe that you can strafe again. She has a spinning attack that looks really hard to dodge, but the secret is lock on and walk into her when she performs the attack. She will miss you every single time. If you let her get a few hits in, you'll find that you're inflicted with leak, taking away your ability to cast more gifts until the status resolves itself or you cure it. She will fire off projectiles if you stand away from her, so this is a fight best handled locked on and up close. Complete the final successor fight and grab that Eos vestige. This one unlocks Bridge to Glory. To use it in Queenslayer, master Mind and Vitality, also in Eos, and swap it out for Strength and Vitality. The worst strength scaling we now have is 100% worth using Bridge to Glory. The Crypt Spire is filled with Black Knights and borderline unfair groups of enemies. Luckily, we have an Ivy Blood Veil, so hit some of the enemies before they aggro to lessen the burden. There are a few elites you have to kill to acquire keys, so please don't rush through. Approach every room tactically, or you'll get ganked so hard, it'll start looking like a Dark Souls 2 video essay. In the middle of the level, we have the Missile Root, which grants us infinite returns to Missile without losing haze. Slot this into your quick select right away. If you remember from earlier, I mentioned there were 3 instances where I used a partner. This upcoming fight is the final and third instance. Upgrade yourself to +9 in Weapon and Blood Veil, and have Bridge to Glory and Flame Weapon at the ready. Blade Bearer and Cannoneer is this game's Ornstein and Smo, except a lot harder. Both will attack you simultaneously, leaving few windows for an attack. This is why I brought Io into this fight. With split aggro, it helps immensely, but this still manages to be one of the harder fights in the game. Cannoneer has a move where he spawns an explosion on the ground underneath you, regardless of where you are in the arena. That's why you should play this fight unlocked, keeping both bosses in your field of view when you can. Focus on Blade Bearer, who has less health, while Io distracts Cannoneer. Once this becomes a 2-on-1 fight, you'll secure victory easily. I'd love to practice this fight more and make a solo guide for it one day. That day is not today. Hit up the missile to level up before the next boss fight one room over. Juzo Mido is a greatsword user that casts what I refer to as ball magic. There are 3 types of balls in his arsenal. There is a big ball that slowly follows you until you smack it away. There is a fast ball projectile you need to dodge through, and there are 2 pairs of orbiting balls that impact you after a certain time, making for some tricky dodging situations. His greatsword swings are slow enough to be awkward, and in phase 2, he has a slashing attack with explosions that follow behind it. Don't dodge through it into the explosions, dodge to the right instead. If he hits you enough, you'll be inflicted with Inhibit, killing off any of your gifts. This destroys our defense, and roughly halves our attack power, so don't let it happen. Beyond Mido is the government Outskirts, and there isn't much to be said about this area. It's not too long, and the only important items here are the first bit of tungsten for max upgrades, and another Eos vestige. It should be straightforward up to and including the boss, which is in essence a repeat fight. The Queen's Knight Reborn has a near identical moveset from before, the major difference being that this incarnation has the ability to produce a field around it that builds Leak. In this playthrough, I bullied him so hard, he did not have a chance to cast it. Easy fight, let's get into the next area. If the Cathedral of Sacred Blood is an open-air maze, the Government Center is a closed-off maze. The special theme here is enemies around you playing dead, sometimes well after you walk by them. When in doubt, hit the body. There is an environmental hazard of spears surging out of the walls. Be mindful when there are numerous small holes clustered together, and maybe even use them to your advantage. They will hit the enemies. The Attendant of the Relics boss fight here is mostly for story reasons. She has low health, does low damage, and poses near zero threat to us this late in the game. Beyond her, we restore the Eos vestige. But there are 2 hidden pathways to the right and left. Head to the right first to drop down a ladder for a shortcut, and grab the final vestige. To our left is your old friend, the Argent Wolf Berserker. Our build has grown since the first encounter. Backstab him, and deal out damage with Circulating Pulse, to finish off this mini-boss in style. Restore those vestiges for the best ending, and descend the final elevator for the last boss arena. Make sure everything is upgraded to +10, and start the Skull King encounter. He is tough, and with this build, there is no trick to him. He has many different sword swings, some you can strafe, some that you are better off dodging. I would advise you avoiding medium range. His thrust attack is quick and the most difficult to anticipate. The long range attacks are easier to predict, and dodging through the sword swings right up against him will build up the focus gauge right quick. One tip is to watch the damage resistance when he is stunned. If you deal no damage when he is still, it's a phase transition and you need to back off. If you deal normal damage, he is stunned, and that is your damage window. With multiple phases, each getting stronger and increasing the size of the sword hitbox, a couple hits at the end of the fight will reduce your HP to 0 in no time. Play it safe at the end to destroy Skull King and start the final fight in earnest. If you do any ending besides the bad one, Virgin Born will start right after the last fight. This battle is weird. The creature beyond human comprehension loves simple melee attacks and jumping around the arena. Get the dodge for the landing down, and that's half the fight right there. For this fight, do yourself a huge favor and play unlocked. I found it much easier to hit his head and chest without the lock on. The beam and black hole attack are one thing, but the phase 2 Thorns of Judgment, where he floats in the air and crashes thorn after thorn into the ground, is something else. The trick to dodging this one is to run out of there fast. Should you get away in time, you'll have a big damage window waiting for you. Survive a couple of the Thorn of Judgment attacks, and the day is won. Let me know how you liked the build, or if you've used anything like it in your Code Vein playthroughs, or if you have any more questions. This video took me a lot more time to make than my usual build videos. If you guys like it, let me know in the comments down below, or by liking and subscribing. There are several other builds I could show off for this game. With the sequel arriving early next year, more eyes will be on this franchise, and I hope I can make the experience of all newcomers and returning players that much more enjoyable. Any other build videos like this won't happen right away, but they will come again soon. I need some time after this one, with all the fun stuff going on at work and in life in general for the next week or two. I got Thomas Pynchon's new novel, Shadow Ticket, and I didn't even have time to binge read it over the weekend. Battlefield 6 came out, and it's good, so all my spare social time will be invested in those two outlets. But enough about my life. For more Code Vein videos in the future, and other Souls-like videos every single Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to like and subscribe to The Jersey Side.